What's up, guys? Nolan here. We got a lot to talk about today. I've been doing this unscripted stuff. I've already recorded multiple videos that were like 20 or 30 minutes where I just kind of babble back and forth. The last one, I came to a understanding, or not. No, I think I found something. I think I have something interesting on top of already having something interesting. So try and bear with me over this video, and we'll talk about some other stuff at the end too on the channel and things like that as well, if that is something that you guys are interested in. However, the news at hand is, where are we? This right here. So we had our second post from BSG on, I think it was Wednesday. Yesterday, Thursday, we didn't get a post. So I was curious if they were taking community feedback into account. And then also, this is another thing which I'll talk about here in a minute. Turns out they were. So we are carefully monitoring player feedback and would like to provide more clarity on the details of the upcoming wipe. All restrictions indicated in the infographics will be wave-like as players progress. We have planned sets of changes that will affect the gameplay, including the gradual opening of locations on the location selection screen. So even though we have this transit thing going on, it's not going to be the entire time in some capacity. Even though our secure container restrictions can't store ammo, currency, and certain medicine, I guess that unlocks at some point. Reduced item selling price and increased purchase price. Maybe those fluctuate, things like that. So for everything that we have learned already for these hardcore wipes, it sounds like it's not going to be constant. And perhaps this 3-circle thing that we've been seeing up at the top are its own waves, and not just what we thought it was, which was them incrementally explaining what was going to happen with the wipe. Or maybe it was. Maybe these are all mixed and matched, potentially. Something that I do want to explain, though, something that I did want to touch on today was, you know what? That can wait. Let's keep it going with the actual important stuff, because I'm probably going to put this in the title or the thumbnail in some capacity. We did talk to Nikita. So, very weird states of this channel and my following and just the, I don't know, my capability with this game, because I could just literally hit up the fucking CEO and he'll actually have a conversation with me. However, so I am not going to spoil things for them, but I am going to talk about what Nikita talked about. And in a sense, TLDR, and with a direct quote from him, he said that we are sure what we are doing, bringing actual hardcore experience for just this short wipe. And that truly is, if I had to TLDR, which is the way that we do things here, what he thinks of this. That is, he wants to see what happens. He wants to see this hardcore experience. It's what he's always wanted. You know, long live hardcore. You know, hardcore first-person shooter. It's just, he's always said that stuff. He's always wanted this. And if there's ever going to be a time where you do this kind of thing, it's right before release, because that's kind of a point of no return, unless there's some more wackier things that they want to do later. But basically, once the game's released, you can't really touch it too much in terms of this wide of an audience. It's going to be everybody. If you want to play the game, at least for a short time here, this is going to be the game. So everybody is going to have to interact with this if you want to play the game. You're not going to have that after release. You're going to have to play what you're going to want to play, the thing that you've been waiting for. And it's the smart thing to do, is give them the experience that you've been building up for, with Terminal, with all the other stuff that's popping up, the Black Division, the storyline, the traders, all that stuff. So, as I said, though, I ended up being right. So, they did mess around with the transit system. They did mess around with this. They are making many improvements to the way that the game works, but the campaign is going to use the transit system. They need a proper stress test of the transit system. So that is what's going to be going on with that there. However, yes, it can still potentially cause problems. Hell, maybe the fixes didn't work. So it is good that they are not only listening to player feedback, but they have a plan for if these things don't work, while still being able to test them thoroughly. So again, we have this quote from Nikita here. We are sure what we are doing. They're sure that they are doing what they are sure about what they're doing, because they want this hardcore experience. This is what they want to see. This is what they've always wanted with the game. It's just with the state that the game is in, being in development, there was just certain things that they needed to test all the time, and then the game blew up, so it just got into the weird state that it's in. Well, they are sure what they are doing, bring actual hardcore experience for just this short wipe. Another bit there, short. So I am curious when we take a look at the roadmap here. As he said there will be one more wipe. There will be one more wipe. But as we all know, things change with Escape from Tarkov. So who knows? Who knows? Maybe those things have changed, or maybe he's kind of fibbing there, or maybe he's just not telling the truth, because there are some differences there. This is very much tinfoil hat stuff. So we've got our hardcore wipe in July, and then we've got our in-game event in August. When you go and you look at the previous roadmap, it was in-game event in July, large-scale event in August. I am curious what if this is just dog shit? What if everybody actually gives this the proper attention that it deserves? Everybody gives it a good try. Everybody gets in on the hardcore wipe, and it is just dog shit. Or the transits don't work correctly, or they're just really slow, and it just doesn't end up being what we thought it was. For one, I'll accept that. I want to see what that's like. I'll accept if it sucks. I'm glad that we got to try it, because again, we still want to see what that's like. So there's a reason why we want to test those things. But if that is the case, tinfoil hat, and I won't beat around the bush on this one, what if they fucking nuke us in August? What if they just straight up fucking nuke us in August, and then we come back to a normal wipe before the actual release, and then we have a normal wipe as our last wipe before release? Something I wanted to throw out there. Because if you do remember, there were multiple large-scale event, quote-unquote large-scale events. There was this one, the in-game event in July, which if you think about it, that, if anything, is the one that they're going to nuke us, because that is the cultist symbol. So if this was in July, and now it's hardcore wipe, what if hardcore wipe was the large-scale event that they had planned in August, and then this is them nuking us, starting fresh, going into our last wipe? Because of the things that happen with the labyrinth, because of what they want to test with hardcore wipe, because of the timing around release, this is the time to do that stuff. As with everything, if it fits well enough in my head, I want to believe it. But that's what you guys are here for. So let me know what you think. I think that makes fucking perfect sense, and I think that would be fucking amazing. I think that would be great. Obviously, being the nuke guy, being the head of the community of the nuke people, Sun Tzu. You can't say it doesn't track, because it does. They had this large scale event in August, and then they had this in-game event with the cult symbol next to it in July. And now we have this hardcore wipe, what I would have to assume would be considered a large scale event if they didn't make it a wipe and then they decided to turn it into a wipe. Or maybe it was going to be the other way around. But with this, it makes more sense this way, especially based off of the community feedback. Now, of course, they had this roadmap up in the first place. But if they assumed, or maybe somebody had the right idea, which is like, hey, this probably isn't a good idea for absolutely all of the community, maybe we switch these things around. I could totally see somebody having that opinion in a meeting and being like, maybe we don't completely torch the last wipe. Maybe we allow the last wipe to be somewhat normal, have some sense of normalcy to it. But then we still are able to test it the way that we want to test it. So maybe we throw them into the deep end with this hardcore wipe before we nuke them, literally, and then we go into release. And then we have our last wipe before release. If you think that doesn't make sense, please let me know. I'd like to hear about it. So I think this all fits together. I think it does. That's my opinion on it. And again, BSG are excited about it, and they have some stuff planned for it that you guys should be excited for as well. Even if you're not interested in it, this should be cool. There should be some good information that we get out of it. And turns out they are going to need this. They're gonna need us to help out on it. It's going to get some proper testing. We're going to get some proper data, and it's going to be useful for the campaign. So make sure that you guys at least give it a try. If you want the game to do well after release, at least give it a try. On that note, I guess there might be a lot of people that don't want it to do well. So that's the second part. This is going to be a bunch of bullshit, as I used to say. There's going to be a lot of BS. This will be the BS section of the video here. So if you guys are not interested, thank you very much for watching. Click all the buttons on the screen, and I hope you have a nice day. Otherwise, super weird kind of state of the channel. I put up that thumbnail the other day as like a joke, like, because not everybody, it just seemed like a lot of people were crying about the way that this hardcore wipe was going to happen. And it didn't seem like that. It was mostly a joke, obviously. You guys are allowed to have your own opinions. You're allowed to not like it. In fact, I'm glad that you would speak up if you actually don't like it. It's just weird. It's just weird because I had people in the comments saying they were going to just straight up dislike it based off the title and the thumbnail, when that is the exact opposite of what I would want any of these videos to do. It doesn't matter what I put in the title and the thumbnail. The title and the thumbnail is what brings people to the video. My point of view on the clickbait stuff. I'm never going to lie. You're going to see people lying all the fucking time on YouTube these days. Never going to fucking lie. That stuff is real. People were saying that. And people believe that. They believed that if this wasn't something that they were going to monitor and they were going to change, then it was going to ruin Escape from Tarkov, which was the wipe. So, yeah, it's not the full truth, but that's fucking clickbait, guys. That's how this stuff works. I would not be successful if I didn't do that. You can't put a paragraph as a title. You can't put a video as a thumbnail. That is the reality of these things. But I'm never going to lie, and I never have. So I've gotten stuff wrong. But that genuinely, that represents what I thought about the video. So the fact that I can't do that, and it ended up doing fine, and like, so what? It was like, got like 20k views or whatever, and a bunch of people, you know, gave their opinions on it, which again, I value, and I would very much appreciate if you guys kept doing that too. It's just weird that I can just put something out there that I feel strongly about, and then get that kind of response about it. So it's not just this community, it's every community. I do it with the Broken Arrow stuff too. People literally hated me, and I'm still keeping that around with me to this day. 6 months ago or whatever it was, when I made my video talking about the meta for Broken Arrow, lo and behold, it's true. It's exactly what's happening, and people are just ignoring it and just still saying fuck that guy, even though the whole reason was for that. So I think it's the state of the community, not the community, the gaming in general, truly. Perhaps it's these games in general, but this is what I'm into. This is what I like. So it's weird. It's really weird. And also what's happening is, even though the quality of my gameplay over there is at a high level and it's significant, the views over there are not doing as well as that channel's doing. It's not doing as well as what I see other people doing. So apart from the way they edit, the way they talk about things, sure, but this is the differences are significant, especially when you put it alongside people whose gameplay is not as good for that RTS game, Broken Arrow, on that second channel, the Autistic Armchair General in general. Armchair General in general. It's very weird. So it makes me really want to think about posting that stuff on this channel, because I think it's possible that the YouTube robot might value the subs that we have over here. But then again, that is not what you guys are here for. So I might end up just fucking torching the entire channel, which... is that okay? Is it not okay? I don't know. I am very lost on what exactly I should be doing here. But there's going to be some things that are going to be changing anyway. So the kind of content that I make over there is going to change. It's going to be significantly edited. Significant amount of work, back like what I used to do. For those of you guys don't know, and I mean, of course they're still up, you can go back and look at my 5-minute map guides. I would go into Unreal Engine and I would literally block out the maps, so it was easier for you guys to understand where you were on the map before there were even, Reamer, who does these fantastic 3D maps and things like that for Tarkov, before any of that existed, so that you guys could get into the game and that you could understand where you were and understand where the exits were and stuff like that. That's the level of intensity, the level of passion that I have about other games at the moment. It's not there for Tarkov. The flame is burning a little bit with this hardcore wipe, and it absolutely is there in the background for the release, but I don't give a flying fuck about killing scavs, killing PMCs, killing these bosses, doing these tasks again. I don't give a fuck. I need something different. I need to give... Yeah, I've done it 30 fucking times, guys. So and that's not your problem. That's probably valid to you guys. And also, they're not giving us news anymore. There's nothing interesting to talk about. I'm excited about this stuff because there's a bit of news on top of it being interesting. But it's not like I can talk about the radios. It's not like I can talk about the unconscious state every day. I need to wait until they give us something. I need to wait until they show us somebody dragging a body. Which is either a cinematic, or it's the unconscious state, or it's just body dragging so that you can ambush people better. Even though people just put backpacks there and it works anyway, because everybody's such a zoomer with this game. But I digress. I am thinking about going a completely different route with this channel. I'm thinking about, well, multiple forks. One, heavily edited like I used to. Very unique, very detailed, very specific videos that I post once every couple of weeks. I will not be able to do the quick news videos. Everybody and their mother does it nowadays anyway, since I quit. There's like 4 or 5 other channels that pop up with news about that stuff. So go and give them a follow and see how they do. As you'll find out, they'll do the same as me, because that's the best that I got. So it was funny when I was the only person doing this stuff, or one of the only people doing this stuff. And every time I got something wrong because of the way that BSG does things, or got mistranslated or something like that, and people are like, oh, it's this guy's fault, fuck this guy. It's like, no, that's the reality. That's how it works with the way everything goes. So you guys will see it for yourself. But will people realize that and say it out loud? No, they won't. Probably not, but it's okay. It happens. Shit happens. That's life. So I go the heavily edited stuff like I used to do, and the things that I can be passionate about, because it's going to be in a state that I'm going to be able to be passionate about with the changes and with the release and things like that. It's just going to be much less content. And I don't know if that's going to work or not. I don't know if it's going to be worth my time or not. I think with the way that the channel works right now, I could post whatever the fuck I want. It's going to get maybe at best 20,000 views. Sometimes it goes up. Sometimes it boosts up after a little while, which, all things considered, if I have multiple channels, that's fine. I've got Twitch, I've got Armchair General, I've got Star Citizen, I've got this, and eventually I'm going to make an Ashes of Creation channel, potentially something else too, with like a driving sim thing, which I'm passionate about. And I got some other plans as well. So can do that, or I start posting what I post on the other channels on here, which is very disruptive in its own way. Because, like I said, I've got the following over there. I've got the stuff that I've got going on over there that I would need to tell to come over here. I don't know if that works, because then I would imagine, torch what I have going on over here. Although you guys probably see it for what it is, as it is anyway. Which I'm barely posting over here. So the YouTube machine might like that better. They might like that I have this amount of following that I have, and more people might end up seeing it and being able to appreciate it. The amount of people that I have that are still commenting on the Autistic Armchair General videos saying like, oh wait, you're a nice guy. And then also at the same time, it's people saying like, stick to Tarkov, bud, because they literally don't know what they're talking about and don't know that I'm one of the best players in the world, or that I understand the game the way that I do. I don't know if that's good, or I don't know if that's net positive or not. So gonna have to decide. That's also another fork in the road. And then the third is I keep doing what I'm doing, but now every single channel I just pay more attention to. I don't know if that's the right way forward. So looking for some insight, looking for some feedback on that stuff, and looking for, I guess, a bit of slack. Maybe, perhaps, when I make thumbnails like that. Where is it? It's just that's my brain. That's the way that I think. So I should be able to do that on my own channel. It's a title. It's a thumbnail. The reason why I make the videos is so that you guys can get the information out of the video, not just the title, not just the thumbnail. It ain't that deep, bro. In some cases, on some of these comments and stuff, it ain't that deep, bro. Anywho, that's what we got today. That's the hardcore wipe. That's the quick interview with Nikita and his quote. Excited to see what happens. Thank you guys very much for watching, and hope you have a nice day. See you guys.